Hey folks, and welcome to Truck King. This is exciting because finally we have this truck, the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma. Now in this video, I want to truly dive into all of the details. We're going to look at what changed from the last gen Tacoma to this one. We're going to look at fuel economy, size, power, price, and more. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's start by talking about the power plants, but before that, you've probably noticed that lots of Tacoma videos have published today. So in this video, we're diving right into the numbers, into those little details. Now we've also published a full review where Dad and I simply drive the truck and we go over what we like and what we don't like. And then we also published a full interview with Sheldon Brown, that's the chief engineer of the Tacoma, and we split all those up into separate videos. So if you want all those little details, stick around here and then make sure when you're done, go watch those other videos for all of our thoughts, for a comprehensive look at this new truck. So as I said, right now, let's talk about the power plants. So the 2023 Tacoma still had a base engine. That was a 2.7 liter four-cylinder engine. It made 159 horsepower and 180 pound-feet of torque. Now we get into the 2024 model, and the engine we have today is the new base engine for the Tacoma. This is a 2.4 liter turbocharged four-cylinder. Now it actually has three different power outputs. The base SR model gets 228 horsepower and 243 pound-feet of torque. Step up to any trim above SR, like our TRD off-road that we have here today. This thing is making 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. And then one little interesting oddity, if you go for the 6-speed manual, you get a little bit less power, just 270 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. So from the base engine point of view, from the old truck to the new truck, it's a massive jump, not only in the amount of power you have, but yes, the old truck was a 6-speed, and of course this is an 8-speed. Now this isn't the only engine in the new Tacoma. The upgraded engine is going to be a hybrid power plant. So it's going to be this same 2.4 liter turbocharged 4 paired with a hybrid setup. Overall system output on the new Tacoma hybrid is 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque, which is quite a jump. And now finally, let me remind you, the old Tacoma, the V6 made 278 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque. So the new base engine, the Turbo 4, makes the same horsepower as the old V6 and a lot more torque. And then coming in the spring of 2024, you'll be able to get the hybrid engine, and that thing makes a ton more power than before. So it doesn't matter which way you look at it, the Tacoma is much more powerful with this new generation. Power has improved, and so has the fuel economy for this Tacoma. On average, about 1 to 2 miles per gallon better with this 2024 than it was before, depending on the trim. And you can see some of the specific numbers right here. Let's talk about gearing now, and there is one major change, which is honestly probably the reason for the fuel economy jump. The old Tacoma V6 used a 390 differential ratio. On the new truck, it's just a 358, and that's gonna help with fuel economy. And then when it comes to the low range, well, that didn't change from the old truck to the new truck. Let's talk about how the new truck handles compared to the old truck, at least by the numbers. So first of all, the steering ratio has been made slightly quicker than on the old truck. And then when it comes to turning radius, the new truck actually turns worse, and that's because the wheelbase has been made longer, and you can see the specific numbers right here. Let's look at the brakes, and yes, folks, for 2024, the Tacoma finally has four-wheel disc brakes because the old Tacoma had drums in the rear. Now, there are two different sets of rotor sizes depending on trim and powertrain, and you can see that all right here. Let's look at the overall dimensions now for both the new extra cab and the double cab models. We will compare them both, but the overall thing that you need to know is that for this generation, the overall length of the Tacoma is basically the exact same, and that was important to Toyota. They didn't want to make this a much bigger truck, but they have stretched out the wheelbase. The truck's also slightly taller and slightly wider than it was before, and you can see the comparison here. Let's look at interior dimensions. So I already told you overall length stayed almost the exact same, which means interior dimensions stayed pretty familiar as well. Headroom in the front and the back stayed the exact same, at least on paper. Legroom in the front got slightly worse, but legroom in the back got slightly better. The rear seat legroom is 1.1 inches better for 2024. So yes, a little bit more space back there, but then maybe most importantly, a fully revised seating position in the front, which in my opinion is much more comfortable. But you can compare all the numbers when it comes to dimensions here. Looking at towing on the new generation Tacoma, the numbers have actually gone down. For this double cab, max tow rating is 6,400 pounds, regardless of whether it's four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive. That used to make a difference. It doesn't change for this truck. But yes, overall, the new Tacoma tows a little less than the old one. Looking at payload, of course, it depends on which configuration you get, but just looking at spec sheet to spec sheet, all of the numbers are up for payload with this new generation. Some of them as small as just 20 pounds, and some of them even more. And then I might as well tell you, on our TRD off-road double cab, as it sits here today, we have 1,200 pounds of payload, and here's all of the numbers so you can compare. Now we've arrived at the final numbers we have to compare: pricing. So yes, this new 2024 Tacoma is more expensive than the old truck across the board. And you can see all of the US numbers right here. And then for all my Canadians, we're gonna bring up the numbers, but there's a couple things I have to tell you. First of all, in Canada, we're not getting the extra cab at launch. Toyota Canada says that it's coming, but we're not getting it yet. So for now, our base model in Canada is the SR5 double cab. We also only get four-wheel drive trucks here in Canada. We don't even get a choice for two-wheel drive. So our base model has moved up all the way to SR5 double cab. We don't get an SR model either. We used to get SR and now we don't. So that's all sort of important information when looking at this pricing. And then I will also mention, you're not going to see a limited model in Canada yet because our limited is going to come with the hybrid only, and the hybrid engine isn't launching until the spring of 2024. So yes, the Canadians, we don't have quite as broad of a model lineup as the Americans do, at least right now when the truck actually launches. But with all that said, yes, even here in Canada, the Tacoma is more expensive than it was before, and here's all the numbers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you got some good information on what really changed, all those little details from the old Tacoma to the new Tacoma. And for the most part, all of the changes resulted in better numbers. And I'm excited to get out and drive this thing. So if you want to watch a full review, make sure you go check out that video on the channel because we're going to go record that right now. And as always, before you go below to the comments. Let me know what you think of this specs video. All the numbers you just heard on this new Tacoma, do they sound good to you? I want to hear about it. So go in the comments, leave me that comment. As always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member, and then come right back here to Truck King to see what we are testing next. See ya.